Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of this amendment that will prohibit the use of funds by the Department of Education for its misguided gainful employment rule. Perhaps it would be helpful to the public to know what this gainful employment is that we are talking about. Under the Higher Education Act, proprietary colleges and universities and career training programs are required to offer programs that lead to gainful employment in a legally recognized occupation in order to participate in the federal student aid programs. The term gainful employment has been in the statute for over 40 years, and during the most recent reauthorization of the Higher Education Act, there was absolutely no debate or discussion on a need to further define the term. Now, when this originated, several of our colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and I'm deeply appreciative of the chairman and my colleagues, in a bipartisan fashion, we went about our business trying to understand just what kind of proposed rule it is that the department is talking about and just how it is that it will impact the overall public. What this amendment would do was prohibit the use of funds for implementation of the draft regulation that the department issued on October 29, 2010, and will prohibit the department from promulgating or enforcing new regulations regarding gainful employment. Now, let me put a face on these schools as my colleagues that are opposed have done. Perhaps some of them have never eaten at a restaurant that the person that prepared the food went to a proprietary institution. I have. Perhaps none of them have had physical therapy where the persons administering it graduated from proprietary schools. I have. And most importantly, I want this body to understand that the 8 people that had the last hands-on experiences with my mother for 2 years, that all were nurses in 2 different hospitals and at home, graduated from proprietary schools. Now, we all agree that both taxpayer funds and students' best interests should be protected in higher education, but I can tell you this, rushing into a blanket approach that will limit student access to higher education and fail to adequately address problem institutions is not the way to go. You know what we did here in this institution? What we did here for the people that work with us, young people that graduate from Ivy League schools, historically black schools all over this place, we created a program that will allow them to help pay off their student loans. Some of us hire people at what I would not call gainful employment that may have graduated from institutions that I attended or that the president attended. Now, I don't understand why the department refuses to recognize job placement, professional certification passing rates, employer verification, or anything else related in determining an institution's effectiveness. It is unreasonable if it's unreasonable amounts of student debt that they're trying to address, well, I agree that that is a concern. Let's then have a frank discussion on student debt. But it is not only the institutions that are responsible. Students, lenders, policymakers, as well as institutions must be part of this process and must be held accountable. This proposed rule is very broad, and its implementation so burdensome that many schools will undoubtedly close. And I don't buy into that fallacious argument that 50% of these people don't graduate or don't go on to do this, that, or the other. In this economy, in the United States of America, a whole lot of students are graduating from a whole lot of schools and are not getting jobs today. And many of these schools that we're attacking unreasonably are places where I know, at least in the congressional district that I'm privileged to serve, that many of these people have received jobs, and many of them leave the institutions. I like the last 2 nurses that worked with my mom that had a job when they left the institution. This may please some of my friends in this body as the Department of Education, but what will happen to the single mother looking to change careers, who needs the flexibility of a private sector college? What about the first generation college student who needs the added support? Mr. Speaker, I urge that we support the amendment, and I thank my colleagues.
Time of the